Hello and welcome to another episode of the Golden Hour Podcast. I'm your host, David Altizer.
And I'm Connor McCaskill.
And we are here after a slight hiatus. Well, I shouldn't say that.
We're back. It's been a while.
Yeah, we're back. It's been a while. Some things have come out, and I mean, we could just get started straight out of the gate with the DJI announcements. Connor, what has released in the last 2 weeks from DJI?
Well, since we've been gone, sorry,
Yeah.
there was
Kelly.
the DJI Air 3, so that new drone came out, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's just another drone. Nothing too earth-shattering about it, other than the fact, of course, it does have that 2-camera system, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so the Air has always been, I think the terminology certainly has come from Apple's marketing, right?
I would guess.
And the Air kind of has always been, even from Apple, and then I think with DJI, the kind of everyman's drone, right? The Air is kind of everything that most people need. The Mini, in my opinion, is everything that I need because I love the form factor of the Mini, and the Mini 3 Pro in particular has all the pro features that I want. You know, like it does have a decent image straight out of camera. It does have the 10-bit. It does have the decency like, but it's so tiny and compact. But for some people, that's just not enough. You know, if you're shooting a wedding or you're shooting kind of quote professional work, the Mini 3 is really not what you want. It also doesn't have the sensors on it that this has as well. And so, yeah, the Air 3 has omnidirectional optical sensing. It's got a 1 1/3 inch tele lens. What tele lens is that on there?
It is
the same one?
I believe it's a 70 millimeter
Nice.
telephoto lens, and then the wide is that, I think the standard. Isn't it? Aren't all the other ones 24 millimeters as well?
Yes, yeah, it's that
Yeah,
standard
so it's
24 millimeter lens.
Now it is a 40. They're saying it's 48 megapixel sensor, which is actually pretty good because I think my Air 2S is a 20 megapixel sensor, so a little bit of a bump there as well, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's a f1.7 aperture on the wide lens. But getting that kind of telephoto image on a drone really enhances the cinematography because back in the old days when people were actually using real helicopters for aerial shots, often, if you even go back and watch any 80s and 90s movies, often they would start with a big opening sweeping aerial shot. And usually they would have a zoom lens and they would like zoom in very telephoto into the subject, or, you know, even some of those like Lord of the Rings shots where the Fellowship of the Ring, they're climbing over the mountains and stuff. Some of those are the most beautiful aerial shots ever because they're just all the actors running over the mountains in New Zealand. Yeah. And I don't know if you...
No green screen.
No green screen at all. And I think I heard some of the interviews with the actors from Lord of the Rings, and they said that those were pretty funny because they would have like a walkie-talkie hidden in their costume, and so they could hear Peter Jackson, but it was always like, we're coming over, keep running, whatever. And they're just running. They don't hear or see anything, and then all of a sudden just, the helicopter just comes over the mountains, and they're just running, completely alone. So anyways, but a lot of those shots, it's often like 100 millimeter, 200 millimeter lens, and it really gives you that parallax movement. And it's truly a cinematic kind of feel that you can get with a telephoto lens on a drone, especially a lens that's super stabilized. Also too, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but like if you go back and watch old aerial shots that were shot on a real helicopter from the 80s and 90s, they are not smooth. They're really bumpy, and you can kind of see the camera jiggling around. Like the stabilization that we have on a drone is so much better than what they were using back in the day on a helicopter, which I think was honestly just a cameraman probably sitting on a helicopter for some of the shots.
Just a guy with a giant cannon of a not a Canon camera, but a Canon of a camera,
or some sort
hanging out.
Or maybe maybe they had some mounts, but they probably didn't have any type of real good stabilization that we have now. So
no, probably not.
Anyways,
it's cool. I mean,
cool.
remember the what was it? The Mavic 2 Pro, the zoom. That one was pretty cool because it had that same kind of thing. It had a little bit of that telephoto zoom action going on. Problem with that one is that the image just looks so much worse than the regular Pro 2. So people didn't really want to use it.
Yep.
From footage I've seen of the Air 3, it looks like they've kind of corrected a lot of that. The image looks pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to look amazing in their commercial, but even from footage I've seen of buddies using it, it seems like it's pretty decent. So it's a cool drone. I mean, it's what, $1,100, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it really is. I think if you're in the market for a drone, and you don't feel the need to go to the Pro series, the Mavic Pro series, this is more than enough. Our good friend Jevon Dovey has said in his video that this is now becoming his main drone because, you know, the Mavic 3 Pro, though it's super high quality and super great, if you've seen the Cine drones, they're pretty big and bulky. Still nowhere near the size of the drones that we were using just a couple of years ago with the Phantom series. But with the Air series, it's kind of your camera bag along with your mirrorless cameras. It still fits in there. It's about the size of a water bottle, or, you know, roughly like a 70 to 200 or something like that. It's fittable in your bag, and it's doing all the Pro settings like 10-bit and HLG and all that stuff. So pretty cool. And it has full omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, which the Mini series does not have. So if that's important to you, that means you could pretty much fly in any direction and be fairly safe. I don't think it's doing everything that the Pro series does, but it's got all around it obstacle avoidance. I don't think it has top and down sensors. I think that's the difference.
I learned the hard way that the Mini did not have omnidirectional obstacle avoidance because I crashed Jim Cook's drone. I was doing a side shot and I didn't realize it didn't have left and right stabilization. So I was just flying with almost pure confidence because usually, you know, it stops me if something's wrong. And no, I hit a tree on a golf course and it
did it break
to the ground. Luckily, it was fine. It broke a few propellers on it, but it ended up being okay.
Oh, cool.
So
that's good. That's good that you didn't have to buy him a new drone.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mini 3 Pro does not have, I think it's just got front facing and that's it. So,
which arguably is the least important because that's where you can see that way.
Sure.
If you're going to have anything left and right or back, makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. I think it has back too, right? I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's just front and back, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. They're calling it tri-directional obstacle sensing. So I guess it's got front, back, and down, I think, but not side to side, which is really probably the most important because as you're doing a move, you're often moving left to right, and that's when you would hit a tree or something. So
exactly.
So
but that's not all the DJI news.
Well,
DJI. Dude, I say DJI.
Sorry, I kind of paused for a second because my phone is directly below my monitor, and eBay literally just notified me. It said, just for you, drone DJI, because you searched drone. And I haven't searched drone on eBay. And that's weird. I've been talking about this drone during this conversation. I've said drone probably 20 times. And eBay, I guess, is listening to my microphone. So that's a little strange.
I mean, that's
eBay of all companies. I didn't realize that they were in the Facebook world.
They're all listening to us all the time.
That's weird though. I was not searching drone on eBay at any point recently. That is strange. Okay. Anyways, let it be known to maybe disable your microphone access to eBay. Although I don't think eBay has ever asked for microphone access. That's what creeps me out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it's seeing my searches on my Chrome browser.
It probably saw you search for DJI and it was like, oh, drones, huh?
Yeah,
interesting.
Got some cookies going on Chrome or something. I don't know.
Gotta love the modern world. Anyways, so DJI also just as of today announced their Osmo Action 4 camera. Super cool little action camera. I mean, we've always liked the DJI ones over for example, GoPro back in the day when Dave and I would review those cameras.
Yeah,
Um,
the GoPros sometimes would have better features in some areas, and often even their color I feel like was usually pretty good. But I don't know, there was something about the Osmo that had a more cinematic kind of look to it. I don't know, it's just their color looked better in my opinion.
I think that GoPro's colors were just more saturated. I don't know that they were necessarily better. I think that they were artificially making it look better. But the Osmo's image, just the pure image, looked just nicer than the GoPros.
Yeah, even if the GoPro had like 10-bit and other features that seemed on paper to be better, I felt like straight out camera, the original Osmo Action kind of looked like a real camera, like, you know, just a wide angle. But and then they were also the first to put the screen on the front as well, which was an awesome feature.
Right, and then everybody copied that.
Yeah, exactly. But
like almost immediately.
I feel like a little bit of deja vu because I remember last year reviewing the Osmo 3. So the Action 3 came out last summer, and here we are a year later, and they have a 4. So that's pretty fast turnaround time on a new camera, but I mean, that's what DJI does, I guess. And yeah, for the most part, it does look similar and pretty much the same in terms of the body. They're going with the kind of GoPro style, which is great. I think it's better than the little cube that they made. The cube is cool, but I think this is kind of, you know, to use the same term I just used prior, this is the everyman's camera because it has everything built into it with both of the screens and everything, and it just makes sense. They've got a great mounting solution. I really like Osmo's mounting stuff. They took a different approach than GoPro. They created kind of this magnetic clip-on mount. Have you had any time playing with that, Connor?
Yeah, with the 3. The 3 had it as well. I thought it's really cool. In fact, in their advertisement video, their commercial, they show it, you know, clipped onto a guy's backpack. He's hiking in the mountains, and he quickly unclips it, clips it to a little selfie stick vertically, and then they record a vertical clip for Instagram or TikTok or whatever they choose to post to. And I was like, I mean, yeah, it's cool. I think it's very well engineered. I mean, they tend to think stuff through. I don't know that this is miles better than the 3. You know, it looks pretty similar, but you know, it has I think a slightly better battery life, slightly higher performance, stuff like that.
Yeah, my friend Flightpath posted a video comparing the GoPro to the DJI, and it looks like the DJI Action 4 is slightly wider than the GoPro Hero 11. It's also got definitely better low light. I think it has a larger sensor as well.
That's true. Yeah, the sensor is a decent improvement. So is it 1/3 inch? Is that what they did?
Yeah, 1 1/3 inch.
1 1/3.
Something like that. And you can see Potato Jet did a test comparing it to an iPhone with the wide angle lens, not your standard lens. I'm sure the standard lens would crush it in low light compared to this, but he's like, well, if we're going to compare apples to apples, it'd be the wide angle lens, I guess. So, which is fair. Well, actually, no, there's a shot of the Action 4 compared to the normal 1X lens, and the 1X lens looks way better. It has bokeh and stuff, but you know, the Action 4 is holding its own. I think that topic alone kind of negates the point of the action cameras. Like, unless you really are truly doing action shots and stuff, I just prefer using my phone. It gives me everything I need. It does have a wide angle lens on it. You know, if he's using this camera to film his kids going to the aquarium and to like a theme park, like, to me, that's the place where your phone would be the best tool because it's in your pocket.
Yeah, it's already with you. I think that, yeah, exactly. Action cameras it's in the name. It's an action camera. So it's like, if you're a skier, obviously that's awesome. If you're into scuba or snorkel, that's awesome. If you're into mountain biking, that's awesome. But if you're going to the zoo, it's, unless you go to the zoo in some extreme way, that'd be kind of crazy. Coming in riding on an elephant, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe an action camera doesn't really make much sense, but it does seem cool. I could see snagging one and maybe even using it as like just a really cheap like top-down camera
Yeah.
or something as well, because it's really small and non-obtrusive. And it would look decent enough to work as that.
Potato
although
Jet,
that's
sorry,
outside of that
Potato Jet is showing Action 4 versus Action 3, and it does have an enhanced low light mode. And I mean, I'm seeing some change here, but it still looks it looks the same. Like it's the same.
Yeah.
It's yeah, sure, it's slightly better, but like you're not gonna. I don't know. It's such a marginal difference. It's if you already have the 3, I think you're fine. Even if you have the GoPro 11, I think you're fine. If you're in the market to upgrade, then obviously get this one. I mean, it's newer, it's good, it's got some nice features. One of the things that I saw that I think is pretty cool is you can plug in the DJI USB mic now to the USB-C port on the Action, as well as if you use an adapter, you can plug in, like a boom mic or something like that. So it's accepting mic input over the USB-C port. So that's cool.
Yeah. One other cool feature is that it does seem to do some, although they used a weird shot to show it off. I would have used something a little more vibrant to show it off. But when you're underwater, everything turns blue and gray, because that's just how light works underwater. And they have a underwater correction that you can apply for the colors, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But again, they just showed like a shot of a manta ray, so I was like, well, there's not much color on a manta ray.
True.
to really show that working.
I'm not seeing it.
But anyways, it's in there. It's in their little scroll down Apple looking presentation.
Okay.
That's kind of neat. I don't know. It's cool. Yeah, like you said, if you have a 3, maybe don't probably consider that unless you're just rolling in money and you just want to spend it for funsies. But I don't know, if you have a 2 or a 1, it's probably worth looking into.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the video here. I mean, it looks really cool underwater for sure.
Yeah.
It looks like DJI took a note out of GoPro's book and like really made a beautiful, amazing looking ad. With the Action 4. The footage looks incredible. I don't know.
If there's enough information to talk about, a lot of times it's just, here's a maybe picture of it.
Yeah.
Is there like any leaked specs on the C2?
No, it's just that it's happening.
Okay.
Here, I'll share this. So on Canon Rumors, they showed a leak of a patent that Canon is working on that has a tilting viewfinder. So I've never seen anything like this. I don't think any mirrorless company has done anything like this, but Fuji has done with the GFX line that little accessory with the original one that the EVF could like tilt up and stuff. And Panasonic, I think, had some cameras that could kind of tilt up. So I guess it has been done before, but not from the high end manufacturers.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I mean, it looks nice. Like it'd be cool to have it on there.
Yeah,
but it looks a lot like a C200 viewfinder, that would tilt up or something like that, which is great. I mean, that viewfinder worked awesome back when I used that camera a lot more.
Yeah.
So, why not? It's
certainly smaller than a C200 one, and it'd have to be some sort of
course,
it'd have to be a pretty high res viewfinder as well. If it's a modern mirrorless camera. So,
is that rumored to be on the upcoming R5C Mark II? Is that what maybe this is going to entail, or do we think this is going to be entirely different, or do we just not know?
Yeah. It says this would definitely be a feature a lot of people would enjoy using on a camera like the R5 Mark II, which is going to be their kind of next big flagship. So I mean, I think this is a flagship feature because professional photographers who are doing portraiture and stuff are often shooting pretty low, and this gives them the ability to continue to keep their eye jammed into the viewfinder and do low shots. So, I think this is a cool idea. So,
why not?
So apparently, Canon actually was surprised by the sales of the R5C, even though we've expressed our concerns and issues with it. It's actually sold more than they were expecting. I think. Potentially Canon was thinking it would be a similar fate that the 1DC had, which I'm holding. If you're watching the video, I still have my 1DC. It doesn't work. I need to either send it in to get fixed or just sell it as is. But
Never let it go, Dave.
I know it's a beautiful counterweight. It's a beautiful paperweight.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 1DC did not sell well at all, but it was also because it was $15,000 and it didn't have any like pro video features other than log and continuous recording. So
Canon has some pretty unreasonably highly priced cameras occasionally.
It's
like
true.
the C500 Mark II. It's like, it's a good camera. It is, but it's like, did it really have any business being $17,000?
the C500? Oh yeah, definitely.
C500.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
in the cinema world, yeah, for sure.
Okay, I mean, teach their own. I don't know that it was that good compared to other stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the C300.
Same thing with the 1DC. I think that the 1DC, I mean, it was just absurdly overpriced. It probably should have been 8,000 or 9,000.
Yeah.
Instead of 15. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think Canon thinks very highly of themselves.
No, yeah, I mean to push back on the 500 Mark II, I mean I think it was fair for the market, but the problem with the 1DC is that it was in that high price bracket market, but it had none of the features that those people would want. Like there was no focus peaking, there's no waveforms, there was no professional audio features, there was still a mini HDMI port. Like at least with the 500 Mark II, it's it's got all the video features. It's got built-in ND, it's got SDI, it's got time code, it's got all etc. to go on, and that sensor was comparable to the Alexa in terms of dynamic range and noise performance. So for the price point, I think it was definitely worth it. And obviously they're not selling many units of them, so
yeah.
But we'll see about the R5C Mark II. My kind of hesitation with it is like, I really wish that they would use the R6 sensor for that kind of world of the C cameras, because I like that, it's got better low light essentially, and I don't need all those megapixels. But I guess they're wanting to make sure that they have 8K recording, because I guess that's kind of just the future of everything. I have no desire to shoot 8K myself, but the R5 has a really interesting lens that you can get for it that does VR recording, and you do need the highest resolution possible for VR, 360, 180 recording essentially. So
do you think,
who knows? It might even be 12K.
do you think? Yeah. Do you think VR recording is really going to become a thing? I know that
Absolutely.
Apple Vision Pro kind of hints at it, and obviously Meta has been doing all their stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think
don't know.
I think because of the Vision Pro, there's just going to be more and more demand for it as Apple Apple's been creating content for their shows. They're using VR cameras for all their Apple TV shows now.
Mm-hmm.
So that means there's going to be versions of their Apple TV shows that you could watch in the Vision Pro that are proper 3D that you could watch. And I guess it's not full VR. It's like a 180, because it's like you're looking through a window of the movie. But I've heard that that particular lens from Canon is starting to sell out right now. The R5C has been selling really high numbers because of the Vision Pro announcement. So people are trying to get a hold of that camera with that lens now. So they kind of got lucky with that, I think, because it's really the only pro lens in that price bracket.
Yeah, I just wonder how well it's going to take, because it is a very exclusive viewing experience, not only because it's an individual based viewing experience, which is one thing, but just two, it's going to be an expensive viewing experience. I mean,
sure,
it's going to be hard to buy into. So I think the market on that, at least for now, at least for a couple of years, but even still, it feels like it's going to be a very niche thing to be doing.
Totally. And if it's like, be aware of it, maybe even rent one and maybe try around and play with it if you want. But you're right. Now's not the time to buy that stuff, because it's not even going to be mainstream for another. They're building an ecosystem to prep for the future, then so be it. So
True.
So since our last conversation, which was only 2 weeks ago, a lot has changed for me. I've actually, released the video. I think that we talked about, the 100 movies video. We talked about it, and it was still not out yet, and so there was probably a slight hinge of doubt on Connor's part that I would actually have it out, because there was a lot of talking about that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And then, in all fairness, there were plenty of discussions post podcast recording of delaying it again. But you didn't. You released it. So good stuff.
So this is kind of a weird inception of screens here. So I finally released it, and the YouTube channel is now live. I, based off of the advice of a consultant that I'm working with, I am going as my name again. So David Altizer, you can follow me there. And the title also has changed to "Can Two People Make 100 Movies in 24 Hours?" I'm going to stick with that for a while. I noticed in my stats that was actually performing better than my original title, because it's a little truer to what the video is. But yeah, the response has been really positive. I've been really pleased with the response. We just hit 500 subs. Woohoo! So yeah,
500 more and you can monetize.
Yeah. 500 subscribers in 2 weeks is not terrible. But I'm playing with a little bit of a cheat code, because I kind of have a strategy here. So, and then I started posting shorts as well. I've posted 5 shorts in the last 2 weeks. This one here, the Oppenheimer or Barbie movie short, has 14,000 views, which is nuts, because I literally just went out with a microphone to the mall and just asked people, "What movie are you seeing?" That's all I did. I was like, "What movie are you seeing?" "I'm seeing Oppenheimer." "What movie are you seeing?" "We're gonna see Barbie." It's like, that's all there is. But for some reason, people liked watching it. So yeah. So
well, it's because of the Barbie Oppenheimer meme that was going on, that was really
totally
blowing up. So that obviously helped you out, because it was what do they call it? Barbieheimer.
Barbieheimer.
They merged the names. I don't know. So it seemed like you played into it at the right time. I mean, I imagine that was your intention and your strategy with that.
Yeah, it was the day that they came out. It was that Friday. So I literally went at it was like noon or 1 p.m. So, it wasn't even the bulk of the people that were going to the movie yet. But then I had my buddy Brody, who's editing this podcast. He actually did the first cut on this, and then I finished it out and we posted it that night. So it was trending during that weekend, that crazy weekend. So anyways, I'm having fun with that, and you'll be seeing more with that. I'm excited about a new kind of venture into that world. But what's kind of nuts is I started making thumbnails recently, and it's kind of become an interesting career path, because I've always enjoyed thumbnails, and I feel like a lot of my YouTuber friends don't actually like making thumbnails. And I've talked to a lot of them, and they don't like it, and they also feel like they're just confused on what to do and don't seem to be up on current trends and stuff. And I've always just loved that whole process. And I started making thumbnails for my buddy Frame Voyager. This was one of the first ones I did. It was called The Troubled Past of Atomos. And so this was one of the first ones I did. And it was like a cork board, detective, like trying to figure out, what's going on. And that video performed really well. It got I think a couple thousand, about 20, 30,000 views or so. And then I did another one for him for the Oppenheimer release. It was talking about...
That one smashed, right?
Yeah, that one I think is at 300,000 views or something.
Yeah.
And so, it's just clean. It's just Chris Nolan's face is talking about Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan and the way he makes movies and the way he does practical effects and stuff. But I'm just starting to learn how to get that clean thumbnail look and have the lighting kind of wrap around the subject as well. stuff like that.
Well, you played with color really well on that one too, because Interstellar, it's the white cool blues, which obviously you did, like you said, the light wrap and then the oranges. So it just very pleasing.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, so we've kind of developed a bit of a style with all of the Frame Voyager stuff, where it's just like a subject in the middle. And so, anyways, so I started working with him. I've done some other ones too that I'm skipping through here, but and then the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible one as well. That one performed really well for him. So, and then my buddy Hayden Hillier Smith, he asked me to help him with his podcast. So this was one on, talking about Jimmy from Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Jimmy is Mr. Beast.
Yeah, exactly. And then today they actually posted this one on the A24 movie that was made from these YouTubers. And so they interviewed these guys on their podcast, and they went from YouTubers to now making a movie. So this one actually posted today. So I did this one last night. And then I did one for Hayden as well. So I'm just really loving it. And I started posting on Twitter, or as it's now known, X, x.com. And that post kind of performed really well, and just me sharing, oh wow, what is this? Weird, that's not my Twitter.
Try that again.
Yeah. So I posted just like, hey, making thumbnails now, and I shared some of the images I made. This one was cool too. I was like, the 15-year journey of the making of Barbie. Apparently Anne Hathaway and what's her name?
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer, yeah, they were supposed to be Barbie, and so I did like Infinity War snap on them. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
And then obviously Margot Robbie looks like a Barbie anyways, so that was easy to make her look good. But I put the like little crown on her and stuff. So anyways, I'm having a ton of fun with it, and this post got 11,000 views on Twitter and ended up getting some DMs from some big creators, and one in particular, Max Fosh. So if you're not familiar with him, he's a British comedian. So he has a couple of videos that were so amazing. I don't know if you've seen any of these. There was one that went viral about a year ago. I made tourists think they landed at the wrong airport. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that one. I have seen a couple of his videos though. He's pretty funny.
I broke into the International Security Convention. That one was a popular one, about 6 million views on that one.
I think that's maybe the one I saw.
I became a member of the royal family.
Week. Something about Fashion Week as well.
No, you're talking about somebody else.
He was in it though.
Yeah,
briefly, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was in it.
Yeah, Alex. So, anyways, so he has this one with volcano, and so this most recent thumbnail, I cooked a frozen meal in an active volcano. I actually made the thumbnail for that. So, pretty amazing. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
He saw the stuff I was doing for Hayden. And so, I don't know, it's like, am I a thumbnail artist now? Yeah, but it was not planned, and I was not expecting to be a thumbnail designer. But it's something I enjoy, and, I think being a YouTuber myself, I kind of have a understanding of YouTube, and I'm older, so I can kind of speak that language with an older audience, I think. Like, it's not a cringy Minecraft kind of style necessarily, so... Though I'm not opposed to doing that if necessary, but I don't know. It's something that I've enjoyed doing, and
well, it seems like it's almost like the perfect job for you, if I may be so bold, because it's highly creative, right? But it's like sprint work, okay? Because I think it takes time, but it doesn't take weeks or days or whatever to complete a thumbnail, unless there's a bunch of revisions or whatever. So in your case, because I know you've talked about, struggling with focusing and sitting down for long periods of time to work and all that stuff, it's kind of awesome for you, right?
Yeah.
You sit down and you just sprint through it. It's highly creative, so it keeps your attention. It's always different as well, or at least mostly different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm loving it.
It's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get to listen to podcasts while I edit too. That kind of keeps my attention as well. So it's awesome.
Absolutely.
I never thought I'd be doing photo manipulation for work, because I've always been such a video person, but this is kind of it still is video. I'm just making thumbnails for video people. But
Right.
anyways, so that's interesting. And then you also have been doing your own thing as well. That's completely different, and that is scuba diving. Are you officially licensed now, or like tell us the story?
I'm an underwater boy now, so it's pretty sweet. No, not officially. Saturday I will be. So
Awesome.
I've gone through multiple different classes, the academic classes, and then you have to do various pool dives to learn fundamentals because they don't want you diving anywhere dangerous or in open water to learn fundamentals. And then we did go to Pennyroyal Quarry up in Kentucky on last Sunday, as of recording this podcast. And that place is actually pretty dope, I will say. I mean, we're not diving in an ocean. We're diving in the middle of the country. So,
well, tell me about that, because it sounds really interesting. So there's quarries, and they fill it up with water, and they have, certain things under there for you to explore and stuff. How was all that?
So it's about 100 feet deep, which is all I am being certified to do. So with my level 1 scuba certification, open water dive, I can do up to 100 feet under my certification. But what's really cool about it is they have all kinds of fish in there. So you got like bluegill and catfish and turtles and other stuff that I can't remember. So there actually is fish to look at, although the bluegills will bite your ears, which is hilarious. So you have to kind of like shoo them away because they just like to nibble on people for some reason. But what's actually cool down there is they basically made it a little scuba playground. So while we were down there, we were swimming through sunken school buses. They had fire trucks. They had yachts that were sunk, shipping containers. They also had, what's it called? I always forget what it's called. It's essentially like drainage pipes that would go under driveways. So that they're just a little bit wider than a human. They were like 30 or 40 foot long. You'd swim through those. So it was really cool. They had a basketball court down there too with some bowling balls. So we shot some hoops while we were down underwater.
How was that?
Pretty cool. Yeah, you can. I can dunk when I'm underwater. So I can't dunk
awesome.
on land.
So, I mean, what brought about this whole adventure in the first place? Are you planning on going anywhere now that you've been certified? I mean, I'm sure you've talked to some of the other scuba people, and maybe you've got some ideas of where you may want to go.
So initially, I think I might have said this already on the podcast when we first talked about it, but my dad's a certified diver. So it's just something that's always been in my head as a kid that I've wanted to do. I have done dives before, just not been certified. So it just made sense to do it finally.
So it's like getting a license. You just have it. So
yeah, it's good for my life though. So once I'm certified, I'm good for life. Although if you haven't dived in a couple of years, it's always good to do a refresher course so you don't get hurt, because scuba diving is very dangerous. I kind of forgot all the different ways that you can die or severely hurt yourself while scuba diving. So it's not sharks that you need to worry about. It's basically underwater pressure, because you're under a lot of pressure underwater. You're breathing compressed air, which can be very dangerous. And there's a lot of different things that you have to be aware of while diving, and even after diving. Otherwise, you can actually hurt yourself pretty bad. So it's good to make sure that you're up to snuff if you're looking into diving. But once you know all the stuff, it's not too bad. But yeah, I think I have a shoot coming up. I'll be at Snapdragon Summit in Hawaii.
Cool. When's that?
That's in October.
Okay.
And
cool.
Jim Cook, the guy I work for that shoot, he's the certified diver. So I think him and I are talking about doing a dive on one of our free days, because we won't have much free time, but we will have some. So we thought about maybe taking a dive, which would be really awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And then some of the guys in the class, they're talking about maybe putting together a little scuba trip somewhere, but we haven't quite figured out when and where.
That's awesome. So, I mean, it seems fitting for you to finally have that scuba award or whatever it's called, and I'm excited.
Certification, yeah. Award.
I'm excited to, maybe take the old DJI Action 4 with you and get some shots, huh?
I was thinking about getting the Insta 360 Go 3 or whatever it's called. That one's just kind of, I like that one. The DJI one looks nice.
Can you dive with that?
You can a little bit.
Yeah.
In shallow water, but I imagine they sell a housing because the Action 4, you can only dive down 18 meters with that, which is
interesting.
Not deep enough for a lot of scuba. It's fine for, like, if you're in the Caribbean, that's probably fine. But if you're doing anything else, you're gonna ruin your action camera.
Well, same with the. I'm looking at a thing here. You actually do need to buy a dive case for the Go 3, which they sell. It's $59. Yeah. That will give you 197 feet of waterproof diving,
which is perfect. Yeah. So in my class, I think on compressed air, the deepest you can go safely is about 132 feet before you start taking on too much nitrogen in your body. All the tissue in your body becomes saturated with nitrogen because you're not breathing oxygen in your tank. You are, but it's 80% nitrogen and it's 20% oxygen, which is what our atmosphere is, right?
Yeah.
So when you're down there and you're at 4 or 5 atmospheres of pressure, you're breathing in 4 or 5 times technically the amount of nitrogen. So your whole body becomes saturated with it. And if you're down too deep, you get nitrogen narcosis, and you essentially, more or less, you get drunk. And then people die because when you're underwater and drunk at that pressure, you do dumb things, and people get hurt. So
yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Dang. Well, be safe out there. Don't get drunk while you're diving. Don't drink and dive.
That's actually another thing. You're not supposed to drink and dive. You can drink after you dive, not before. Not before.
Cool. Well, kind of a slow news cycle especially for us taking 2 weeks off. I guess since then, the people have been getting their hands on that Sony A6700, which still seems to be a good camera, but it's kind of a slow news cycle this week. But a lot of stuff is still happening for both of us here, and so hopefully you guys don't mind us just kind of sharing some of the life updates with y'all. And yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you want to talk about, Connor? Anything coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I do have some trips coming up, so there'll be some things to talk about, but I'll keep them to myself for now. But cool. do we want to chat at all about the fact that we may slow down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so with all that being said, I'll just say, for me personally, I'm building this new channel, and then my wife is actually, pregnant, and we'll be expecting our next son in October, so we're really excited about that. But because of that, I'm just having to really focus on more and more paid work opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think Connor is also in a similar boat. So we will be...
I do not have a child on the way.
Paid opportunities is what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I will just say that, we're not going to delete the Golden Hour podcast. We're not going to go away, but we will be slightly less frequent. So hopefully you guys will continue to tune in every time we post a show, and we love all the feedback. And honestly, the longer we wait, the more news that we can cover and talk about as well.
That's true.
And then also, we're not opposed to continuing to have guests on the show as well, whoever may want to join us. So we're trying to line up Jevin. We've been trying to line him up for a while. And then
he's a busy man.
Also Tyler. I always love talking to Tyler. So we could probably nerd out about X and Twitter for about 30 minutes if I had him on. But
yeah, well, we're going to hit iPhone season soon enough. So
yes.
A lot of good conversation there. And,
absolutely.
A brief little thing. I thought I saw something about M3 MacBooks getting rumored. Not sure if that's actually happening or not, but maybe that's coming.
That'll
but yeah,
be exciting.
We're thinking about maybe every other week. Not necessarily committing to that, but just that would be a schedule we would like to keep moving forward in this time, since things are just getting busier.
Yeah.
And then if time becomes more accessible, maybe we'll bump it back up to one a week. But it's just necessity right now.
Yeah, I think people understand, right? So we'll continue to deliver the shows when we can, and we love all of you so much. And Just so grateful for this show and the consistency that we've had on it. It's been a fun show to be a part of for the last 4 years. So
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, 1.
But also you were a part of it from the very beginning in a way as well.
Yeah, behind the scenes. And now you got to look at my face. Well, if you're watching the video, you got to look at my face, hear my voice.
All right, guys. So we'll see you on the next episode of the Golden Hour Podcast. Once again, I've been your host, David Altizer.
And Connor McCaskill.
Bye-bye.